Producer
Yes,
for P. Diddy?
yes,
Is that right?
that is true. This whole thing is spiritual. I started calling out to the Lord, but then the demons appeared and they said, he can't hear you. I'm dealing with the voice of the Lord every moment telling me to get out of there. If you got that opportunity, you had to take advantage of it because the competition was very stiff.
I'll never forget the sound of the chanting. In a stunning courtroom revelation, a former employee took the stand and exposed secrets that left not just the jury, but the entire industry in disbelief. From cryptic symbols to chilling ceremonies, hidden within the walls of Diddy's lavish mansion, the details were nothing short of disturbing. This testimony could change everything we thought we knew. What was really happening behind those opulent doors? Stay tuned as we uncover every unsettling detail.
With the voice of the Lord every moment telling me to get out of there. Clark. So we would all be in the studio and it would almost be ritualistic. You know, we would light candles and as the beats are playing, you know, they would, you know, their hands would be moving like this and they would be chanting different things over the music alone. This is before it goes to the writers. And honestly, I can hear it in my ears like it was just yesterday. Like it was amazing music. And I, again, you don't get to those realms without a supernatural aid or a supernatural guide. One thing I experienced is that this whole thing is spiritual.
Well, I was with Dirty Money, and I sung background for them when I wasn't a part of Day 26. So I was able to be around them through the album process of them creating Last Straight at Paris. And what I witnessed was a sober Sean and a regular Sean. Like when he's regular, he's very cool, very giving, like will invite you to dinner, you know what I mean? Feed you around his table. What up, Playboy? What up? Be very excited. Then I saw a high Sean too, which was very dangerous. So that's why I said I feel like he's in jail. And I'm not judging anybody because I think he needs prayer and help. But he's in jail because he's a danger to himself, first of all. And he's a danger to the world right now. And I think there's a lot of people that are scared that didn't come out in the beginning, that are very scared because in scary situations, it's not just him that could possibly hurt you. It's people around him that are still close to him that can hurt you. Or it's just really deep, man, with Sean. So I would say I think he's in jail right now just for a good reason.
It began with a trembling voice on a popular podcast. An ex-employee, someone who had spent years deep inside Diddy's inner circle, finally broke their silence. Sitting across from the host, hands visibly shaking, they spoke with deliberate caution, weighing every word. "I saw things in that house that still keep me up at night," they whispered. The room fell silent. The weight of that sentence gripped listeners immediately. Though their words were vague, the implications were chilling. Strange noises in the dead of night, whispers that echoed through the massive halls, and haunting chants that didn't seem to belong to this world. "I kept telling myself it wasn't real, that I imagined it," they said. "But I don't think I did." The revelations were just enough to stir panic and curiosity. The employee described mysterious symbols carved into furniture and doors, markings they couldn't understand, but knew were placed with purpose. The sense of secrecy was suffocating. And when the host pressed for more, the ex-employee hesitated. Fear, they admitted, had kept them quiet for far too long. "This is bigger than me," they confessed. The episode exploded across the internet. Clips went viral, forums lit up with theories. Some focused on occult symbolism, others dismissed the claims as a reach. But one thing was clear, the emotion behind the words felt real. "You can't fake that kind of fear," one commenter wrote, and thousands agreed. Could someone as powerful and respected as Diddy be hiding something so dark? The idea alone was enough to shake the culture. When pushed again, the ex-employee offered a final cryptic hint. "I knew speaking out would destroy me. But the guilt got too heavy. You don't unsee things like that." They described feeling trapped, caught between doing their job and turning a blind eye to something sinister. Every sentence was a battle between revelation and survival. As the interview wrapped, the host asked the inevitable, would they ever tell the full story? A long pause. Then came the answer. Clear, steady, and chilling. One day. They need to know. That day came sooner than anyone expected, in a courtroom where silence finally shattered, and the truth began to surface.
So we make a deal. He allows me to use the studio. And I'm in there creating every day. And a lady comes by. And she says, hey, I got some cookies. Some ganja cookies. And so I eat one. No, I eat one of these cookies and I'm like, man, well, I don't feel that. So I eat 2. Then I eat 3.
That's some nice cookies.
Then I eat 6.
Lord have mercy.
So after a while, it's like I entered into a red room. It's like everything became red. I started calling out to the Lord, but then the demons appeared. And they said, he can't hear you.
Demon or demons?
Demons.
How many?
Oh, it was a bunch of them. They all appear and they're talking. And they're talking and they're saying, he can't hear you. And I said, the blood of Jesus. They said, it's not going to work. They said, we got you. And now you about to die. And now you going to hell because you disobeyed God. You're going to hell, buddy. And I felt myself going out.
See them?
I seen them.
What do they look like?
Some of them, they look like gremlins, and one of them looked like it was like a clown, but with a tiny head and a really big. It was weird. It was the weirdest thing I ever seen.
The courtroom fell into a heavy silence as the ex-employee stepped up to the stand. Their voice was steady, but each word carried the weight of buried fear and a truth too long concealed. Jurors leaned forward, tension crackling in the air. This was the moment everyone had been waiting for. What they described next sent a chill through the room. It began with a late-night request, an instruction to deliver an item to a part of the mansion staff were warned never to enter. Most avoided that, wing entirely. But that night, no one else was available. As they pushed open the heavy, ornate door, they stepped into what felt like another world. The walls were lined with intricate symbols, geometric patterns etched directly into the plaster. Under the faint, flickering light, some of them seemed to shimmer, pulsing almost like they were alive. Around the room stood tall black candles, their wax melting in carefully arranged drips, patterns that felt far too intentional to be random. But it wasn't just what they saw, it was what they heard. The ex-employee paused, their voice catching for the first time as they described the sound. Low, rhythmic chanting, too precise to be a malfunctioning speaker. It came from everywhere at once, surrounding them, pressing in. As they stepped further into the room, the sound grew louder and undeniably human. Then they saw them. Through a partially open doorway, a group of figures emerged, draped in long, dark robes. These weren't costumes, the witness explained. They were heavy, ceremonial, and each figure wore glinting symbols that looked like some kind of rank. At the center sat a figure on a raised throne, carved with more strange markings. When this central figure raised their hand, the chanting stopped. The silence that followed was so absolute, it felt unnatural. And then, one of the cloaked figures turned. Their gaze met the witness. The ex-employee's voice cracked as they recounted what came next. I ran. I didn't look back. I locked myself in my room and stayed there until morning. I didn't sleep that night, or many nights after. They later learned the name of the place they had stumbled into, the Inner Sanctum, a room strictly off-limits to all but a chosen few. A space, they claimed, where reality itself felt warped, where the air seemed thicker, and something unseen always felt present. I knew I wasn't supposed to see that, they said through tears. From that day on, the house didn't just feel haunted. It felt like it was watching me. The courtroom sat in stunned silence. No one moved. No one spoke. Because in that moment, the veil lifted, just enough for everyone to glimpse the darkness that may have lurked behind the mansion's walls all along.
They diagnosed me as schizophrenic and bipolar. The same thing kind of like what Fred said he was going through, but I didn't experience thoughts. I experienced other thoughts of being harmed and stuff. You start doing things. I was like walking around Rochester, bro. Like it's like I really like lost myself for like years. Now I don't cry about this no more because I'm stronger. But it's like I was going crazy, bro, trying to figure out like what's going on, and the things that I was feeling are coming to light now, and I'd be like, whoa, that had to be God, intervening and removing me from that situation because it could have got really, really bad. I don't know why somebody that evil would. I don't get it. I don't know why somebody would do that to talented, passionate people. Yeah, we talented, passionate people. I don't understand. No, it's okay, bro. I don't understand why someone would sit down and think about hurting someone. I don't know, or laugh about it after they do it. Like I don't get it. That's why I said none of them are innocent. I'm not here to expose anybody, but none of them are innocent, man. Like none of them are innocent. Y'all all coming after the man for millions of dollars when y'all were a part of it as well. Y'all were down too. Like that's not fair. That's not fair to him. That's not fair.
Did you ever confront Diddy about this?
I kept trying to get in contact with him because all I wanted was an apology. All I kept saying, like, could you apologize? Like, could you just apologize for what I can't talk about right now? But I just wanted to apologize because something was wrong with me, man. Something was wrong. And like on your last Vlad interview, you could look at me and tell like something was wrong. Like I wasn't a enthused person. I wasn't cute. I looked like stressed. I looked like I was in that place. So, like you could tell like something was wrong. Like
that is said towards the end of this video. He said that was very interesting. He said, Q said, had never have came up, I would have never spoken about it because I ain't no snitch. I would have just kept it to myself. That was very, 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 very telling. That was very telling. You could tell that something terrible happened to him. Something extremely traumatic happened to him. So obviously something very traumatic and terrible happened to him at the hands of Diddy. But you can also see that there is a level of forgiveness that Q has at the same time.
The courtroom was cloaked in silence as the ex-employee continued their testimony, each sentence landing heavier than the last. Diddy sat at the defense table, eyes locked on the polished wood before him. At first, his face was unreadable, a mask of calm built over decades in the spotlight. But that mask began to crack as the ex-employee described the inner workings of the alleged rituals held deep within the infamous inner sanctum. The tension in the room became unbearable. Jurors exchanged nervous glances. Even the public gallery seemed frozen, breath collectively held. And then, the moment that shifted everything. The witness recalled one night in chilling detail. A night where Diddy, they claimed, wasn't just present. He was leading. He stood at the center, surrounded by robed figures, conducting the ceremony with an eerie authority. The group chanted in cryptic, unrecognizable tones. Their hands moved in strange, synchronized gestures, deliberate, almost hypnotic. The witness paused, visibly shaken, before saying, "It felt like I had walked into something I was never meant to see." At first, Diddy didn't move. His stare was fixed. But slowly, his posture began to shift. His jaw tensed. His lips pressed into a thin, rigid line. Then came the clenched fists, the slight shake of his head. And then, the witness said the words that broke the silence apart. They said it was about power. That's what these rituals were for. Control. Influence. Diddy snapped. He shook his head violently and muttered something under his breath. Too low to catch at first. But when the ex-employee mentioned him by name, alleging he orchestrated the entire ceremony to secure his dominance, the tension detonated. Diddy shot to his feet. "This is all lies," he shouted, his voice slicing through the courtroom like a blade. Gasps exploded from the gallery. The judge's gavel slammed down. "Order! Order!" Chaos erupted. Jurors looked stunned, some visibly rattled. Diddy's legal team scrambled to calm him, their hands gripping his arms, trying to pull him back into his seat. Whispers turned into murmurs, murmurs into a rising tide of speculation and disbelief. The judge's voice boomed again, threatening to clear the entire courtroom if silence wasn't restored. For a man who had mastered the art of public composure, this outburst was more than a slip. It was a collapse. The gallery split, some staring in morbid fascination, others looking away, unsure what to make of the unraveling icon before them. And yet, the ex-employee didn't flinch. They remained seated, eyes locked on Diddy, unmoved, unshaken. Eventually, order was restored. Diddy sat back down, visibly furious, eyes burning, jaw still tight. His attorneys leaned in close, whispering urgently in his ear as the judge sternly reminded the courtroom of the seriousness of the proceedings. But the damage was done. From that point forward, every word spoken hung beneath the shadow of Diddy's reaction. And for the first time, it seemed the weight of the accusations had finally begun to crush the legend behind the name.
Well, I did an interview with Roger Bonds. Is he around here? No? I don't think he's around here.
Well, I was around Roger Bonds.
He was around, right. And he witnessed all the abuse.
Yeah.
But, what you're saying is, basically consistent to what he was saying was that Diddy was, over time became a drug addict.
Yeah.
He would go on these drug binges. Him and Cassie would lock themselves in these hotel rooms for 3-4 days, go on these binges. During the binges, that's allegedly the free costs happen or whatever else. And then they would go and get IVs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Try to rejuvenate themselves.
Everything.
And then a week or two later, go through the same type of thing.
He's also the person that said that Diddy said that he never cared about making a band, and he never planned on using making the band successful like it was.
Basically like a lick.
Yeah, like he never really had a business plan for
James, this guy could get whatever he wanted. There was already girls there at the party, but I believe these girls came specifically to do whatever we wanted them to do. I just remember him walking in and asking everybody, "Hey, what kind of girls do y'all want?" And a few moments later, girls came in. I think somebody said they wanted Puerto Rican girls. It's just a bunch of them came in.
Where'd it come from?
I didn't have the connections.
The courtroom chaos sparked by Diddy's outburst had barely faded when the shockwaves rippled far beyond those walls. Media outlets pounced, dissecting every detail of the ex-employee's explosive testimony. Social media exploded with debates. Everyone wanted to know, could any of these allegations actually be proven? This was no longer just rumor or gossip. Investigators were called in to dig deeper, focusing on the bizarre claims of strange symbols, unexplained rituals, and the mysterious inner sanctum itself. Reports soon surfaced that, during searches of the mansion, authorities uncovered objects that raised serious questions. Among them, a collection of obscure books on occult practices, some describing rituals eerily similar to those mentioned in the testimony, group chants, symbolic hand gestures. Though, such items might be dismissed as quirky collectibles for a wealthy celebrity known for his eclectic tastes, the parallels were hard to ignore. Investigators also found unusual artifacts, ornate carvings and figurines featuring abstract designs that experts identified as well-known occult symbols tied to ceremonies of power and secrecy. Yet, not all. Witnesses supported the narrative. One former staff member insisted they never saw or heard anything out of the ordinary during their time at the estate. They described Diddy as intense but professional, suggesting that restricted areas were simply a matter of privacy for a man of his stature. However, another anonymous insider corroborated parts of the ex-employee's story, recalling strange noises late at night, low droning sounds echoing through the halls. While they couldn't confirm any ritualistic activity, they admitted the atmosphere in some parts of the mansion was unexplainably unsettling. The case quickly divided public opinion into believers and skeptics. Skeptics pointed to the absence of hard proof, while believers argued that some secrets are meant to remain hidden, making definitive evidence nearly impossible to obtain. Sociologists observing the fallout noted society's deep fascination with the secret lives of the wealthy and famous, when someone like Diddy, a towering figure in pop culture, becomes vulnerable to such dark allegations. It feeds into a broader narrative of distrust toward the elite. True or not, these stories tapped into a simmering belief that celebrity power often conceals hidden, shadowy layers. Online, the trial became a spectacle in its own right. Hashtags trended daily, splitting commentators into camps. Those convinced the ex-employee was revealing a hidden truth, and those dismissing it all as sensationalism. But one reality remained undeniable. The damage to Diddy's image was already done. In the court of public opinion, what people believed mattered far more than what could be proven. And that lingering residue of doubt was enough to forever alter the legacy of one of the world's most iconic figures.
My thing with Roger Bond was, like, I had issue with him, and I was kind of, like, nervous around them because I was in the email, and I saw some things in a personal email that threw me off guard.
Like what?
I don't want to go into details right now, but it just threw me off guard. You know what I mean? It made me be like, you know what I mean? Like, I understand you crying now and the trauma that you've seen, but what about me, bro? Like, what about the trauma you put me through when I read that email?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why it's just not like Sean that's guilty. They're all guilty, man. Like, and I'll just put the blame on Sean. I blame everybody that's in his circle. They're all minions and they want to be like him. And if they can't be like him, they try to come against him. If they don't got the money or they can't get it, it's quick and simple. Or whatever he's doing to get it, you know, then all of a sudden it's like, let's turn against him now. You know what I mean? Because I guess whatever. I don't know.
Well, you said that you've seen the drugged out.
Yeah.
What would happen in those times?
Well, I mean, I'll keep it very short. Things felt very sacrificial.
Okay, explain.
I can't. And I don't want to sound like I'm a conspiracy person too. You know what I mean? Because I'm not. But when you're under a power, man, it's just, I can't go into details now, but sir, like, I'll tell you, it felt like some sacrificial stuff was going on, man. Like, it felt very scary and weird to where I ran to get help. I ran to my doctor. I spoke up with my family. I spoke up to people around me because I was like, if this is true, and I've come missing or dead or something, I want you guys to know facts and the truth of what I'm going through and experience.
For years, celebrity culture has thrived on crafting an illusion, an image so meticulously polished it feels untouchable. But this trial cracked that veneer wide open, especially for those drawn to the mysteries lurking behind closed doors. The ex-employee's testimony didn't just cast doubt on Diddy. It reignited a wider curiosity about how much of the entertainment elite's lives remain shrouded in secrecy. People have always speculated about the hidden worlds of the powerful, but moments like this push those whispers into the spotlight. Almost immediately after the testimony went public, the trial became a polarizing spectacle. Some saw every chilling detail as undeniable proof of a hidden reality, pointing to the specificity and conviction behind the witnesses' words. Others dismissed it as fabrication, sensationalism, or a calculated attack designed to dismantle Diddy's reputation during a vulnerable chapter of his career. The debate wasn't just about the truth of the allegations, it was about what those allegations represented. Could a figure so admired, so publicly scrutinized, really be living a double life, hidden in plain sight? This fascination isn't new. Over the decades, Hollywood has been haunted by rumors of secret rituals, hidden societies, and exclusive elite gatherings. From tabloid headlines to conspiracy theories, these stories always circle back to one question: what does it really take to hold power at the highest levels? While most of these tales fade into obscurity, some endure, fueled by insiders willing to speak out, shaking the pristine images celebrities carefully cultivate, and forcing us to question how much of what we see is genuine. The music and film industries have long been fertile ground for rumors of secretive circles promising influence and protection. But rarely do these whispers surface with such vivid courtroom detail. Research into the public's fascination with celebrity scandals reveals it's about more than just the individuals involved. It reflects society's uneasy relationship with power itself. Sociologists note that elites often seem mysterious, precisely because their wealth and resources place them in realms most of us will never enter. Scandals like this become a way for the public to connect with, or justify their skepticism of these seemingly untouchable figures. They humanize the famous, but also hint that the gap between them and us might be filled with far more secrets than we're ready to face. This case could open the floodgates for others to come forward, not just about Diddy, but about the entertainment industry at large. The ex-employee's testimony is a haunting reminder that even those closest to fame carry stories too heavy to tell, until the moment finally feels right. Whatever happens next, one thing is clear. For Diddy, and perhaps for Hollywood as a whole, there's no going back to business as usual. A door has been opened, and for some, it feels like it might never close again. This trial doesn't just cast a shadow over Diddy's legacy. It forces us to ask a deeper question. How much remains unseen in the lives of the rich and powerful? For decades, celebrity culture has been built on projection, shaping public trust by controlling the narrative. Now, with these allegations, the curtain has been pulled back, if only slightly, and what lies behind it may not be forgotten anytime soon. It leaves us wondering, if these walls could talk, how many more stories would they reveal? What don't we know?